What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Trading Learning 101. It is Tuesday, June 4th, a little after 11:10 a.m. Same thing happened today as it happened yesterday. Wake up. This time the futures were up. There were all kinds of stocks gapping up on the gap scanner. There was literally like 8 to 10 stocks on my watch list. And then as soon as the market opened, it's like everything just went downhill. I only took one trade again today. I took another $100 loss. We'll go over it, but real quick, let's go over the markets real quick. I hope everybody's having a great day. It's Tuesday. It's a new month. It's the first week of a new month. It's really, really important, like I've been saying, the first week of a new month to try to just observe the markets, observe if you're like small cap stocks, if you like watching mid cap stocks or large cap stocks, it's really important to just try and focus on those cap size stocks to see if there's any patterns that change, algos change. That's what I like to try to do at the beginning of every month. But let's look at the SPY here real quick, and then we'll get going. You always want to try to look at the overall market and the strength to see which way the market's heading. So I got the chart zoomed out here on the SPY. We're at the top part of our range. Now, what do I mean when I say we're at the top part of our range? What I mean is previously, old support for the SPY was at 280 level, 281 level for support. Way up here, or for support. It was liking to bounce off this area and move its way on up to 285. We recently fell down below that. You see how all right here, it hit up above it right here. Stock market comes down, makes new lows at around 273s. Today we got a nice gap up and we're surging up at the top part of the range. That's what I mean when I'm talking about the market's at either the top part of its range or it's at the bottom of its range or it's in the middle of its range. But for today, the SPY got a nice gap up today. Yesterday it closed at 274. We got a nice gap up to 277. A real quick dip right here. You see that rounding bottom here on the SPY. That's a bullish signal, and we just got a nice surge to the upside, up to almost 278.50. Nice pullback down to old resistance, and then another nice surge up to almost 279. So very, very nice moves this morning on the SPY. We got the VIX moving down even more, down to currently 17.33. The Qs is looking good. The Qs looked like it was a little choppy, just like the SPY this morning. Didn't know which way it wanted to go. Let me zoom in a little more. This is what I mean by choppiness. It's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It didn't know which way it wanted to go. And then it finally pushed to the upside. That's why this is a great example why I say every day it's good to wait at least the first 15 to 20 minutes after the market's open to get to know which way the stock wants to go. This is a perfect example right here with the Qs. You got choppiness right here. Up and down, up and down, up and down. There are traders who thrive off of just trading that range right there. Buying at support, selling at resistance. Buying at support, selling at resistance. And then when the market finally pushes up and away, then the market decides it wants to go long. Then when it tops out, it pulls back. It'll pretty much most of the time pull right back to the area it broke out from. This didn't pull back really that deep enough, but a nice pullback would have been down to this level right here, and then right back up. But let's move on to what happened in the markets today, small cap land. Yesterday we had ABIO spiking from 550 all the way up to a high of almost $9. Had a nice pullback down to the price where it got halted at around 750, grinded all the way back up to 850 right here, pulled back again to $8, right back up to 850, and it just kept, it looked like it was trying to get really tight right here. See that ascending wedge? And then it just fell through that ascending wedge all the way down to $7. And then from 7, it grinded all the way back up to the VWAP, $7.80. So there was opportunity on ABIO yesterday. I was watching ABIO today for any sort of morning spike or morning push on ABIO. And this is what happened right here. It was still holding most of its gains. It was opening at and around $7 right here. This is the trade I took a loss on. So every morning before the market opens, I get my watch list up and ready. Warrior Trading will normally start streaming about 10 minutes before the market opens. I always watch his live stream to know what he's watching as well, because I know he has sheep. And I know he's got followers that are going to want to buy whatever he's buying. So I'm trying to get ahead on that. Low float stocks are my bread and butter. I love stock gurus out there that have chat rooms with sheep that love to pump low float stocks. It's what I thrive off of. When I first started out, I learned from Timothy Sykes, and then I learned from Deckmar Trades. That's why I'm so good at playing low float stocks, because I put my time in and I learned this game. So right here, market opens up on ABIO at $6.80. It moves right up to the $7 level right here. From 680 moves up to 7, back down to 680, back up to 7, and then it finally pushed through 7 and got a real fast spike up to 735. And then after it hit 735, it came back down to 7. You see how it did that? We'll draw it out. 7 was resistance at the open right here. And then as soon as it broke over 7 and ran up to 735, and when it came back down, look at where it bounced at right here. At $7. Old resistance. But what happened was volume never came into this. I thought it was going to hit the scanners and everybody was going to run into it. But now that I'm thinking about it, there was so much going on this morning. We had like 10 stocks gapping up pre-market. We just had volume everywhere in the market. So ABIO fell back below 7, and then it's just petering off. I took a $100 loss on this. I got in right before this spike up to 735. So I was up in profit for a quick moment. I was. And I got greedy because I thought volume was going to come in and push it up. And I thought it was going to surge like it did yesterday. So I got greedy, held on to it. And just to show you guys, Right there, $100 loss, ABIO. I got in at 9.35 at $7, just a little 400 shares. And after it spiked up, I didn't sell it, and then I became a bag holder, and I held on to this thing for almost an hour because I wanted to try to see. It was hanging on to the $6.80 level, and I felt like if we approach 10:30, maybe we'll get a 10:30 spike on this like we did yesterday. And right after it blew through this 680s right here, that's when I sold it. Because what I was seeing on a bigger time frame, we'll go to the 5-minute, no, 15-minute. Yeah, what I was seeing here on the 15-minute, this 680s level right here was holding, and we were currently right here at $7. So 680 was my risk level, and then when it came down and broke through 680, that's when I sold it for a loss. You always want to try to have a plan when you're trading in the markets, but this is just currently making lower highs, and it's currently making lower lows. So let it trend down and do what it's got to do. But it's still on watch because anything could happen with this stock. Going forward, I'm going to be looking for a mid-candle breakout on ABIO. I think ABIO has one more spike in it this week. All right, next up, we got CTRM was popping off this morning. CTRM, big gap up from 450 all the way up to a high of $10. Same thing, just like GNCA yesterday. GNCA yesterday, pulling it up. Look at that. Big gap up from 550s all the way up to $12. What happened? Market opened, completely sold off, and sold off the whole day. Today, what did we get? CTRM, 450s, huge gap up to $10. What happens at the open? Big sell-off, and it's probably going to fade off the rest of the day. Past 2 days, this has happened twice. That's a pattern right there for you. That's what I'm talking about, being here every day and seeing patterns that happen. So this is doing the exact same thing it did on GNCA. And we'll point those out right now. CTRM, big gap up, market opens. It's trying to hold on right here. It starts to U-shape, and then it sells off really hard. Doesn't get really no bounce right there. Sells off even more. And then now it's going sideways from around $6 to $7. Now let's look at GNCA real quick. GNCA did the pretty much same thing. Zoom in a little bit more. GNCA, big gap up, starts to U-shape right there. Market opens, sells off, really choppy on GNCA, but just sells off. And then look what it does. At $8.25, it starts to flatline right there. And from $8.25, it moves all the way up to $9.25. And then falls down a little bit more as the day goes on. So you see the pattern that keeps happening, and it's happened 2 days in a row now. So tomorrow, this is what I'm going to be looking for. Tomorrow, if there's a stock that gaps up really, really, really huge. I want to see a big sell-off on it. Then I want to start to see it go sideways like GNCA, and it's going to be in a range. So we got GNCA from yesterday right here, and CTRM right here. That's the pattern that I've been seeing so far. It could change. Patterns don't last forever. Let me see if anybody's commenting. No. So tomorrow, like I said, I'm looking for a big gap up. I want to see a morning sell-off, and then I want to see it go into a range. That's the pattern I've been noticing the past 2 days. What else did we have gapping up today? We had SOLY gapping up this morning. Yesterday, it finally broke through that $17 level. And look at this thing broke through 17 right here. And it came all the way down to $15. Shorts got in on it. As soon as it broke 17, shorts all got in on it because they all thought it's at the backside of its move. When you're messing with a low float stock, you always got to keep close tabs on it. The next day, the company comes out with a press release. All these shorts covered. That's what led to this big gap up right here. You got shorts covering, you got buyers coming in. It's going to push this up, and from 15 gaps up to 1850. But Soli has been trading somewhat clean, but in a choppy way. Let's zoom in on this. So what I like about this is every day I always mark out the pre-market low, and I'll mark out the pre-market high just to see the range of the stock. The stock opens up at the top part of its range right here at around 18, and it sells all the way down, and look at where it bounced at the bottom part of its range where the pre-market low is right here at around 16. And then from 16 bounces all the way up to pretty much where it topped out right here. Let me change this color. So we got the pre-market low right there. It bounced right at the pre-market low. This is where the top part of the range is. It opened up towards the top of its range, sold down. You see how it made this wedge right there, and then blew through that wedge, and then it bounced right back up, and look at right where it found resistance. Where it found resistance right here. Got a little pullback down to 17, a mental level, and then from 17 pushes up, and look at right where it topped out at, right where pre-market highs were. So that's the importance of marking out your pre-market highs and lows to see the range on this thing, and just putting it together as the day goes on. You got to think other traders are doing the exact same thing. But you can also draw trend lines on this. Don't be scared to draw trend lines. Connecting the higher lows, the lower highs, and just wait for the stock to come to you. When it's in the middle of its range, you shouldn't be playing it. Always try to play it. If you're a short, you want to play it at the top of the range. If you're a long, you want to try to play it at the bottom of the range. But most traders, 90%, do the opposite. You got the inexperienced people that are long, They're trying to buy breakouts at the top of the range, and you got inexperienced shorts trying to short it at the bottom of its range. Start to follow big traders, Bow, My Investing Club, Clay Trader, and just see how they trade and look at their entries. You'll learn a lot from just looking at traders' entries. I know Investors Underground, Nathan, always posts a chart of all his trades, and he's more of a short trader, and you always see him shorting into pops, and then he'll cover into big sell downs. We also had AAPS gapping up from 366, opens up at $4. Today got a nice slow grind from $4 all the way up to $4.30. Doesn't really move that fast for me. This is more of a patient man's play, but very, very nice, just slow grind and grind and grind and grind. My guess is APPS is more of a higher float. So if you got a stock that's a higher float, if it's going in one direction, it's going to take a lot of volume for that direction to change. So it's just best to jump on the train and ride the trend. Sorry about that. CFMS. The only reason I added this to the chart or the watch list was because it's one of the biggest gainers. It just consolidated here at 376. We got a nice break over $4 right here. Was starting to slowly make higher lows and higher highs. And then finally got that momentum push from 4 and pushed up to 4, just over 425. And it's been consolidating currently in this range from 410 up to 425. Just goes to show you there's all kinds of plays out there. You just don't have to play what everybody else is playing. And then ELTK real quick, really just fast spike this morning from $6 all the way up to $6.55, and then crashes all the way back down below $6. Got really tight right here, and then just from 6 all the way down to 550, and then from 550 a nice bounce back up to $6. ELTK, it's still on watch with that big spike that it had right here, waiting for it to pull back. Normally I'd want it to pull back to at around the midpoint of its first big green day, and it's right around that area. So this 550 area, it's liking to bounce off that area, and this is also a nice fib level at 61.8. So ELTK, it's a very super low float stock, worth keeping an eye on for a potential bounce off this 550, 530 level. BLIN, a very fast spike. There was just so much stock, so many stocks gapping up. Volume was just everywhere. BLIN right there. From 320 up to a high of $4. Pulled back to 360. U-shaped back on up to the high, $4. And then after that, comes back down. Wasn't able to hold this low right here. And then you see how it acted as resistance right there, and almost resistance right there. But this just fading out. I think we covered just about everything. I had RBZ on watch because CTRM was gapping up, and last time RBZ ran really big, CTRM followed in sympathy. So since we had CTRM gapping up really big, I thought I'd keep an eye on RBZ just in case if it was going to follow with sympathy. And you could see here pre-market, it was active pre-market, but really choppy from 4.35 all the way up to $5.20, and then all the way back down to 4.50, and then just no volume into it because CTRM just sold off. What else we got here? ATIS, just a gap and crap. VISL, big end of the day spike right there from $1.40 all the way up to almost $4, $3.70, and then it just tinkers off all right here, and you see how volume just left it. I feel bad for anybody that bought it way up here and is bag holding it all right here. That's how bag holders get stuck in a stock, and then whenever the stock spikes back up to this level right here, that's when you'll see it's really hard to get through levels because everybody that bought all right here, they want to get out on it. They're like, thank you, this stock came back up. I've been holding it for 10 years. I can finally get out. Let's look at this though as at the end of the day spike right here. So this spiked up really fast from $1.60, ran into a couple halts up through 3, topped out at 3.50 right here, pulled back. Look at that, from $3. Pulled back and bounced right off that mental level, $3. And then bounced right back up to 3.50. See how it did that? Pretty much same thing as yesterday from ABIO. Yeah, it did puncture through it right here with this wick. But you got to think of these support lines and resistance lines. They're not metal. They're like a trampoline or a rubber band. They're going to have some bend to it. And then when it comes back up, that's when you see the stock snap up. But there was a nice play here on VISL for a day trade if you were patient on it. That's the importance of being patient. Let it run and do what it's got to do. Let it top out 370. It finally pulled back. Let it pull back to a mental level, $3. It went sideways right here. And then it got momentum and spiked up. Put your risk at just below $3. And then boom, off it goes. We covered ATIS. PRPO was also gapping up. Look at it, just a gapping crap. So many stocks were just gapping up. CTRM, it's basically range-bound plays coming all the way down, putting a bottom in on the day, and then moving back up to old support. That's what I've been seeing. So going forward the rest of the week, I'm not looking to chase breakouts. I'm looking for range-bound plays. That's what I'm looking for. If a stock sells off, I want it to just continue to sell off, put its low in at a mental level. Look at that. $6. This is how you get better as a trader. And this is how you adapt to the market. And this is how you stay consistent. And you're green at the end of the week. You adapt. Pulls all the way back. All the way down to a mental level, $6. From 6, nice grind, all the way up to pretty much right there. Old resistance or old support is now resistance. Pulled all the way back to 625, pops right back up to this line right here, and then that's when you draw a line connecting the lower highs. Comes back down, puts another low right there. Connect your higher lows. It's forming a wedge. Well, I got it already drawn out, but breaks free from the wedge at 650, runs up to $7. Pulls back. You see how it blew through that trend line that was connecting the higher lows? And then that trend line was acting as resistance right there. And then it fell through it. And then it was hanging out at around this trend line that was connecting the lower highs. And then now it's been trending down and just bouncing off that trend line. Why do stocks do this? Because other traders are doing the exact same thing. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this, guys. We discovered a great pattern that I'm going to be keeping an eye out for the rest of the week. So, again, I hope you guys are all having a great trading day. And I hope you guys are liking these daily market recaps. I know I like making them. And just talking about the day and talking about what these stocks did, you know, it really helps with your process, and you can really see how the markets are doing and get a feel for the markets, and that's what it's all about. But I hope you guys all had a great trading day, and I can't wait for tomorrow. As every single day, I love doing this. Got to take it one day at a time as a trader. You always got to tell yourself, you're in this for the long run. Tomorrow's always a new day. So, until next time, guys, have that patience, have that discipline, and study, study, study. All right, everyone. Be safe out there. Later.